They are currently considering constructing a new headquarters facility in the Cherry Hill Business Park. This new facility would be 52,000 square feet, and it is a build-to-suit. They are contemplating 18,000 square feet of office space in the current iteration, and they do have room to add an additional 40,000 square feet should the need arise in the future. Page 15 and 16 of your packet does include a site plan and a rendering for this new facility. The total expenditure currently is estimated between $9 and $10 million. The new facility will retain 80 current employees that they have and also bring an additional 50 jobs within their first 3 years after opening. The average salary for the jobs in year one is $87,000 per year. The facility will house Quad Plus's executive leadership team, their sales team, their engineering design team, and their support teams. It will also co-house an engineering company that they own later next year after construction is complete. We'll also have a warehouse area with cranes allowing for assembly of large custom control systems that they would install on site with their clients. Quad Plus has applied through the Will County Property Tax Abatement Program. The application details are on pages 9 through 12 of your packet. This project, when run through the county scoring matrix, did score at the 5-year 50% level. On pages 13 and 14 of your packet, I have a brief financial analysis of the existing tax structure at the site today. The current unimproved property taxes in total at the site are roughly $20,000 per year. The county portion is about $1,300. Current estimates after the improvement would raise the property tax bill to $48,000 per year during the abatement period and $79,000 per year after the abatement ends. This abatement ask is being carried to the county, the Village of New Lenox, and 2 school districts, New Lenox District 122 and Lincoln Way 210. New Lenox will be first. They're considering this on the 12th of August, the grade school on the 20th, the high school will do 2 reads on the 15th and the 29th, and then we have it on the county board's agenda for this month as well. I do have Raymond Pulasic here from Quad Plus to help answer any questions, but I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
Jim?
Well, first, I think this is a great project, and it's always been one of our goals to bring corporate headquarters and high-level professional jobs as part of our overall abatement program is one of our goals. So it's nice to see that that's happening in this case. But I have to ask, as we always do, and that is, I know they haven't voted yet, but all indications are that New Lenox is going to participate in the abatement, that has local support, and they're going to participate. The other taxing bodies, we don't get as concerned about, but certainly, and it's nice to see the 2 school districts participating, yeah, which is not always the case.
Yeah.
I assume New Lenox, they feel they're going to get approval at their meeting?
Yes. In fact, Mayor Balderman has been a champion for this project and helped in some of the other conversations and working with the builder as well. So we've had preliminary meetings with each of the other taxing bodies, and we've received strong support from all of them. I anticipate it will go well with all of them.
Okay. Jackie?
I was just going to comment that I was excited to see positions that pay decent wages, certainly more than a livable wage, and basically reiterate what Jim said. The only other thing is normally we don't even consider an approval, our past practice. Not that is indicative of what we have to do going forward, but our past practice has been we don't even take a vote on an abatement until after the schools have approved.
One more, Jim.
I mean, isn't our policy now is that it's always contingent on the local participation? I'm asking
That's
the question.
true.
We do a contingent.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay, because before I don't think it was contingent so much as We always had them go there first.
Right.
So, but I do think our approval,
We already had the
I don't know,
dates,
at
yeah.
one point we said that our approvals are
We
contingent
decided.
on local
I wasn't on the
participation.
executive committee the last few years, so.
Yeah, and actually, the school will be approving prior to our full board meeting. They're on the 12th, we're the 15th.
Okay.
Judy?
I was just wondering, their current location is not here, correct?
Correct.
So where's the current location?
So their current Illinois location is in Joliet. It's only about a half a mile from this site. They are not vacating any local buildings. They will be backfilling those buildings as well. So this is growth and expansion for this company.
Thank you.
Other questions? Thank you, Doug. Motion? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Okay. Authorizing a proposed modification to the ADF medical contract with WellPath. Phil?
Thank you. I asked this to be put on the agenda for your consideration because we had a medical issue at the adult detention facility. Your current contract with WellPath rightly limits their contracting with outside medical providers to Medicaid rates, and that's usually not a problem. We ran into some difficulty with an inmate who since April needed to have some either colonoscopy or endoscopy procedures. Nobody, none of the local hospitals, none of the local clinics that have that type of service will handle inmates in custody. We weren't in a situation where we wanted to let this person go. He already escaped once on a furlough before. So we ran into some difficulty. This is very unusual. It's a diagnostic test. They usually don't need to do it, but because of certain symptoms he had in the jail, they had to do it. What we are dealing with is, since that time, 2 other inmates also were diagnosed by the physician that he should have these diagnostic tests, which usually never happens. WellPath was able to find a provider in Cook County up on the north side of Chicago that would do this for inmates in custody, but they asked to be reimbursed at Medicare rates instead of Medicaid rates. I asked WellPath what's the difference in the costs of those procedures. They said it's a couple $100. Well, for $600, if we approve this contract change for these 3 inmates, and we may get more, we may never get any, we went years without doing it, we would prevent any potential civil rights suits against us for lack of medical care in federal court, which just having our outside counsel come in to go to federal court, it'd be a lot more than this money. I narrowly tailored this to only apply to scope procedures, because that's what we need to deal with. We're not having an issue with any other type of procedures. All the other providers are willing to provide all kinds of dental and medical and eyeglass care and everything at the Medicaid rates. We just ran into this glitch. We went through Grundy County besides Will County. Couldn't get any takers, so we're stuck with this one entity, and they said, well, we do it, but we just want to be paid a little higher. So I'm asking if the board would consider that.
Okay. Thank you, Phil. Any questions? Jim?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the hire. I mean, obviously, it costs us a lot more not to do it. It's, you know, I find it difficult to accept the fact that only one on the north side of Chicago would do this. If we look south,
They looked over a 50-mile radius. This started in April. I've been dealing with this since then with them. The one inmate that's there now that needs it the worst, we've arranged a thing where the deputies will put him in plain clothes. He'll still be in their custody till he gets to the provider. Then he theoretically gets a furlough just during the treatment. Then they take him back. And that's the only way we could get him to do it. But it's more expensive for all that time and effort and trouble, and it's still a potential he could get away.
The logistics is
Right. But, I mean, that's
cost.
honest. I the same way. The attorney that was involved in the case talked to his personal physician. His personal physician said, oh, heck, I'll do that for your guy. I'll arrange it. We do that here. and WellPath contacted where he's from, which is DuPage Medical Group, and they said, oh no, the doctor didn't know what he's talking about, we don't take inmates. And I mean, those are the problems. We also had another appointment with another doctor that agreed to do them, and then his supervising authority, whatever group he's in, said, no, we don't do inmates.
Okay.
So that's what we're dealing with, and we had to go pretty far. I mean, we'd rather have it be closer so we didn't have to drive so far, but that was the only one they could find.
I think there's a lot of...
Can I ask, because I didn't hear the answer, so maybe I missed it. Kankakee County, did you check there?
What?
Did you check Kankakee County?
Yes.
Yes.
They went that way too.
I didn't hear the answer.
I'm
They
just
didn't
giving
say
that information.
Yeah, they went a
specifically,
50-mile radius, and this is the only one they located.
Okay.
They started out with a 10-mile radius, and they kept moving out.
Ingalls wouldn't take either, okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, because we used to take them all the time.
Physical threat from this particular person to the service provider?
No, but he's an escape risk.
I see. So they
He
have,
went to a furlough before for his dad's funeral, and they caught him trying to climb out the
He's
bathroom
going to be
window.
knocked out.
so you said when he gets there for the procedure, you have to release him?
They'll release him, but they're only going to release him to go to the back room, and he's going to be drugged for the procedure, and they're going to pick him up. I mean, that's the best they can do at this point.
So there's no way to accompany him?
That's why I'm
Or-
asking you to approve this. There would be a way. If this was approved, there would be a way, but what we're dealing with right now, this poor gentleman was dealing with it since April. And the court is at the end of their rope saying, should I just let the guy go? Well, we don't want that to happen. But they want to make sure that
So-
they get medical care.
So this allows Will County to assure their safety, the facility and the staff safety, and the fact that this man or woman would still be guarded or prevented from,
He's not going to be guarded during the procedure because he's not in custody, but they'll be in the waiting room for him. I mean, if you went for a procedure, you'd have to have somebody drive you home. It's the same thing.
They knock you out.
Yeah.
no, I understand that, but you mentioned escape.
The issue is that some
It's a risk.
medical providers,
But that's why
DuPage
we're
Medical and
asking you to
others,
do
will
this.
not handle inmates.
Yeah.
Julie? I mean Judy, sorry.
That's fine. So, let me get this correct. So he will be in our custody, the sheriff's custody. When he gets to the hospital, the sheriffs go to the room. Will they be with him outside his room?
No, they'll be in the waiting room.
Because there's a big, because my father recently
they'll
had that
manage that
procedure done,
piece.
and I went into the room, which was the pre-room, with my father, then he was taken to that other room where they do the procedure and brought back there. I mean, the waiting room is far.
But no, he's like they'll be like next to kin. They're his contact, they're his driver. But theoretically, he'll be on furlough. They're not going to be in the room with the procedure,
Not
but
with the
they,
procedure,
but they can pick them up, they can go away with them in the recovery room, just like you could if you were with somebody. It's just like you went with your father.
Okay, that's what I want, not the waiting room.
They'd be drugged.
Right.
More so the recovery room. That's
But they'll be in the waiting room until they send them into recovery, because that's where they have to wait before, during the procedure. They're not going to be outside the door of the procedure.
correct.
Yeah.
What does Cook County?
Mike?
I have no idea what Cook County does. We don't know. But I'm assuming they
DuPage
probably
County
use the
or-
same Cook County place to do it, or maybe they have their own medical facility in their jail. They may just do it in there. They're a lot bigger than us.
How about DuPage County?
Don't know. This is a rare, for all the years the adult detention facility's been in this new place, this is the first time it ever came up that they needed a diagnostic test for somebody like this.
Well, now that they know, Phil, there'll be a lot of people that have this.
Maybe, well, maybe that's why there's 3 of them now instead of 1, but again, it's the physician at the jail is the one that makes the determination that they actually need it. And what the issue is, so you know, they're worried it could be a cancer type thing, and they want to get to the heart of it to find out.
Obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
but isn't there there's other tests they can do too, to give a stool test and so forth, that they can get some kind of indication that another procedure is warranted.
Right, they probably did that, yeah.
I assume they do all that.
Yeah. Okay.
Julie?
Did you mention that the same doctor had recommended this with a couple other patients?
He hasn't,
Three.
there's a potential that 2 more inmates may need it. Now, they could get bonded out beforehand, but the medical provider contact that I speak to at the jail, which is not the doctor, it's a nurse, but she runs all the charting and everything, informed me that now there's 2 other inmates that she said may need this procedure, and that's why I think it's important to have something in place. And this is something, if it happened next year, it could be in place, or the following year. We're merely asking for a modification on the contract to raise the reimbursement rate only for these type procedures, because we're having trouble finding people that'll take these type procedures at all.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Phil. Phil, you're up again. Okay, this is the non-disclosure agreement between IDOT, City of Joliet, and various Centerpoint partners. This is about the Humboldt Road Bridge.
The non-disclosure agreement that's been going back and forth on this is 98% there. We're going to ask you to put it on your agenda and move it forward. It's going to be tweaked a little bit. One of the things that we wanted to have, where the disconnect was, is we wanted them to identify an email to us saying this email's confidential. They didn't want to do that because their theory was, well, we have all these employees, and what if one of our employees forget to say it's confidential, then you may release it on a FOIA possibly. And our response was, and we have, you know, thousands of employees in the county, what if you don't put that in there and somebody gets a FOIA? How are we going to know it's confidential? Because when we run FOIA checks, we may take a word like Humboldt, and it may not just be this project. It could be anything involving. It could be a sheriff's accident on Humboldt Road. And every time the word Humboldt comes up, they do a search, and it's a lot easier for us to look, to weed out ones that say confidential. So we've got a language that the attorney sent to us that said they will make all good faith efforts to do this. But in the response, they said IDOT would make all good faith efforts to not release information, and I had to call them up and send them an email saying, I understand IDOT's part of this agreement, but you also need to put and Will County. And so he said, okay, I got to talk to whoever he's talking to. It'll be ready for the county board. I just wanted everybody to know why we're doing it and let everybody know that you will get probably a new amended, a little bit different one than the one that's in your packet, because we are still tweaking the language, but we will be ready for county board.
Thank you, Phil. So those will be on your desk at the very latest on the morning of, if not before, in your email. An motion? Or you have a question, Jim?
So, you know, and I read through it, Phil, you know, I've never really felt comfortable with this whole confidentiality thing in government. I understand we can't give their trade secrets or financial information on there, but I've always felt slightly uncomfortable because I always looked at government as being a transparent, that we need to be transparent. But I understand there's reasons sometimes. So we also, and I think there's, as we've go on, there's less reason to have it because it's pretty much out there. They're moving forward. I don't know what's any big secrets are, but we are also adding now their partners in this agreement, correct?
Correct.
They were not in there before.
Correct. And what we
I think that's important to note, that we are also adding, what I'm going to say are the partners to Centerpoint and Joliet. So I think that's worth noting. And how does that affect? Because they also have to be part of the confidentiality of all this. So this binds them also?
It binds them also, but one important thing that Mary got them to switch on the agreement, and I don't know if it's in your copy or not, originally they wanted it in perpetuity, and we said, no, you can't do that. We got to have a cutoff date. This is government. Once this project is built, there's not as much need for secrecy, because you don't have to worry about a competitor coming in and trying to steal your ideas because it's already completed. And they did agree to have a sunset date on the confidentiality agreement. It could be renewed by us if we wanted to, but I just wanted to point out to you that along the lines of what you said about things should be in the open, we are, through Mary's work, on the same page trying to get a drop-dead date on it so it's not forever and it can eventually all be released.
And I think that's the direction we need to go into. The one other question in regards to this is unless it gets changed, the county still has to set a toll rate, correct?
Correct.
you know, and it's hard for me, as, you know, being part of the government that does that, and saying that, you know, everything has to be confidential, when the toll has to be based on some kind of financial information and return on investment, but yet we can't talk about any of that. So I just wanted to tell you that's a concern of mine also. So, you know, so when we talk about confidentiality, and when this board starts to get into deliberations about setting the toll, we just have to tell everybody we can't give them any information on why we're setting the toll at that? I mean, that's, I'm just telling you, that's a conflict
I mean, theoretically-
that I can see.
Theoretically, you can meet in executive session to discuss that as well because of it, if you need to discuss all the numbers freely and openly.
Right. We'd have to do executive
Well,
session.
I still think it's something that well, basically the business community will pay, but the public, and that our decision-making, I think, in setting some of those things shouldn't be a closed-door deal. So that's a concern of mine. I'm just telling you that I think it should be an open discussion and saying, you know, if these are not all privately held companies, if some have stockholders, they got to get the information out anyway. I guess I'm telling you this for the future, I guess, and I'm thinking the length of this agreement is going to bind us to that period where we might be setting the toll rate. So, and in my view, the toll rate will be set on their investment and the return on investment. Yes, it's not going to come out at I assume they're going to come out with a rate that people will use it. You know, they don't want to make it too high or too low, but they do expect a return on investment. So, and what is that? They might not even want to share that with us, Phil. I mean, I'm just telling you that's some of my concerns. Things that, this is what I think about because I can't fall asleep at night. So, you know.
Bill,
Yes.
when we discuss things in executive session, that includes matters like this. Once a year, I believe it is, we have a vote where we either release the executive session minutes or we destroy them.
No, you release or don't release.
We release or don't release.
Yeah, you never
So-
destroy them. You always keep the minutes of executive session.
Okay, so this board have the authority to release that if we so desire.
But under this agreement, you wouldn't be able to until the
can't.
agreement says you
The
can.
Okay,
non-disclosure.
that's what I'm trying to find out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But it is a set period of time.
It may not be. Well, it may not need to be, but I'm just pointing that out. You could.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I'd have to research on that, but I think you could. Contract talks usually can deal with,
Negotiations typically private.
yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for Phil? Okay, so motion? Ken seconded, okay. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Okay. Authorizing the county executive to execute a lease with the city of Joliet for the problem-solving courts. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We have a JAG grant, sorry. Let me see what it says. For the fiscal year 19 application and allocation and authorizing execution of the MOU with the city of Joliet. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? JAG grant for 17 and 18 award of grant funds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Authorizing an IGA with Joliet for the Fairmount Water System. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Declaring vehicles surplus and authorizing disposal. This is for the Sheriff's Department.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Declaring various equipment surplus and authorizing disposal.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Authorizing a contract with Citgo for the incumbent worker training grant. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Contract with Duquesne Precast for incumbent worker training grant. All in favor? Any opposed? IGA Village of Mokina for animal control services.
We,
What?
yeah, we
Yeah.
have an issue.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Denise.
I'm sorry, we're going to hold for a moment. Phil has, we have some issues with that. I forgot about that. You did tell me.
Did I? Okay.
I didn't make a note on it here. Yeah.
The board has this second agreement with Beecher and a third with Bolingbrook for animal control. This is the first one Mokina had. We sent them our standard agreement, and the attorney from Mokina, without talking to anybody, put in very harsh indemnification language against the county, and that's how Mokina passed it. From a legal perspective, we can't agree to that. We've informed Mokina. The board would have two choices. You could either pull it from the agenda, continue it, or I have another suggestion for you. I would modify and get to your staff our normal agreement, just the similar wording to the one that Beecher and Bolingbrook has. You can sign it. There is no agreement until the two are together, and then Mokina can consider it, and that way Mokina doesn't really lose any time, but it's strictly your call.
Yeah,
Jim?
I'm gonna make a motion to approve our standard agreement that we have with all the other municipalities. If they don't want to accept that, then they won't pass it, but they won't lose time doing it. So I'll make that motion.
Second.
And there's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that would be then, the Village of Mokina contract, or agreement would be then with using our standard language. So then we have the IGA with the Village of Beecher. All in favor? Aye. And then Bolingbrook, same thing.
And I have a question. Do we currently have an agreement with them?
With Bolingbrook?
Animal control is.
Can I ask why we're doing all of this? I don't know.
Dr. Shield?
The municipalities that elect to have our services for assistance in their animal control have the right to come to us, and through an IGA, then we will provide services to them. Frankfurt Township always took care of that township, including Mokina and Frankfurt in the past, and they dissolved their animal control a little over a year ago. And I think that's what's prompting Mokina to come forward at this time to do it. Bolingbrook does have their own animal control.
That's why I'm asking.
They just want this agreement in case there's a situation where they're understaffed, they can't handle it, they would call us. And the way these work is all the calls from these municipalities come through their own police department or their municipality. Residents cannot call us directly and have us respond.
So somebody local has to pick up the animal from the police department or animal control?
Well, they don't have to pick it up. They could call us, but we will not go out unless the municipality themselves call us.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Jim?
Now, I might also point out, because Frankfurt Township did do animal control for many, many years for the villages of Mokina and Frankfurt and the unincorporated area.
Motion and second.
And of course, we would get assistance when we needed it in the unincorporated areas from Will County Animal Control. But, you know, to try to staff animal control and deal with every situation is pretty difficult. And what was arising in Frankfurt Township, and I don't know, Doc, if you're experiencing the same thing countywide, but we were having to deal with more situations where animals were considered potentially dangerous or over-aggressive. And we weren't equipped to do that. So that's the other area. In some cases, you're not equipped to handle locally some situations. where we would call in Will County.
Yes, all of our officers are certified animal control officers. Once they come on board with us, we send them to training programs until they reach their final certification, and then we do refresher courses as they become available. So they are well-trained, and they're quite well-staffed, equipment-wise, for handling typical animals. The one exception to that is horses now are considered a domestic animal.
Yeah.
And we're not adequately equipped for handling those. We do not have a trailer or a vehicle to pull a trailer. Fortunately, most of the time when we have a horse at large, you can find someone in the near vicinity that knows the horse or has horse holding facilities, and we can assist them get the horse to a safe place until we're able to locate the owner. Yes.
And then one more question. I noticed the fees that we're going to be charging to the various villages. What is the owner's responsibility when they come to pick up or claim their animal? Do they then have to pay a fee also?
They have to go to the municipality, and typically the municipality will charge them the fee that we have charged the municipality. And once they pay that, they contact our office, and then they pay us for the number of days the animal was impounded.
In many cases, they're not claimed.
That's what I kind of figured. These are strays or ferals or, you know.
And the ones that are not claimed, excluding ferals, typically the holding facilities that we have that we outsource to have their own adoption agencies. And once the typical hold time is up on these animals, then we release them to that facility, and they will put the animal in their adoption program.
And I'm guessing you have a pretty good system on how to track the animals that you catch and put in cages, and that you know where every animal is at every time?
We do. Every animal that's impounded is photographed. We post those photographs on social media to try to help relocate the animal, or not relocate, but so
Find
the
the
owners
owner.
can claim the animals.
Yeah.
And we contact Lost Dogs Illinois. There's a real good social media network
I was just
out
going
there
to say,
today.
before you even get the animal, there's usually 15 alerts on Facebook. Hey, did you see this animal running around the neighborhood? Or, oh, I found an animal, I'm going to hold it for a while. Can somebody come and claim it?
And one nice thing happening today is that if somebody finds a stray animal, they will hold it at their place, will call us. We tell them to hang on to it for a while, and if possible, be present out in front of their house or along the street. So many times the animal is from the close vicinity.
Right.
And people are out looking for it.
Exactly.
They're not going to see it in your garage, they're not going to see it in the backyard. But a lot of them are claimed that way before we ever have to respond.
Judy?
Yeah, I was just curious. I recently had a situation where I had an owl that was injured in my cornfield, and we did call animal control, and I called all around everywhere. Do we have a list anywhere that if you, because I know we don't take in owls, they're not a domestic
Right,
animal.
DNR has
But do
that
we have a
responsibility.
list of, if you find this type of animal that needs to be helped, do we have a list of who you could contact on our Facebook webpage or Facebook page or anything? Because that would have been helpful for me. I did eventually find somebody who knew somebody, and they came and got the owl and took it to the rescue in, I forget what town it was, Willowbrook, I think. So that was good, because otherwise I didn't know what to do with this owl that was in my field.
We maintain a list in our office. We do not have it on our website. That could be a consideration. We have to be, it would require frequent updating, because these places do change, and they may be, somebody may be taking calls this month and 2 months later, they're not.
And I
So-
I understand that, but for me, it would have been great to have one spot. No, I can go to your page,
Yeah.
see it, because if I get a call from a resident or have another situation on my farm, what do? I'm not sure what to do, where to go. And you guys aren't always answering the phone all the time because, you're on the off hours.
Right.
So that would be very helpful. Even if it changes, I can still call and the number's disconnected to know, maybe put a notice that, hey, these may change frequently. I can
Sure.
then call the next one on the list,
That's
which
an
is what I
excellent
would do.
suggestion, and we will certainly take that under consideration for updating our webpage.
Right, never had that until I had it now, so thank you.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the Bolingbrook IGA. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Replacement hires for facilities management maintenance worker.
Motion.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Replacement hire for the LCC 911. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Replacement hires for Sunny Hill. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We have a check presentation and that's it. We have one check
Check
presentation.
presentation to Redeemed Connection Ministries.
Okay.
From the waste. Yep, it's, yep,
Yeah,
yep. And
That's all
that's from
set.
the waste management funds.
okay. Right. Okay, we have, for the appointments and commissions, we have two added to that. The X-Line Union Drainage District, Gerald Heisner, and then for the Workforce Investment Board, Mary Beth Hearn. So those will be added to your appointments. You'll have those before the meeting on the 15th. They'll be on the agenda. So we need a motion to add those? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Then, on the other new business, Sam mentioned before that we had the 3-year agreement with Constellation Energies. That's how we got the good price on electricity. The price has moved down. She wants to do another 3-year agreement so that we lock in that price again. So that will go to the full board on the 15th. So I need a motion for that one.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. We didn't have anything for the state's attorney's opinion, so then for land use. Any items for discussion for land use?
Tyler, we do need you to save a space for the 2 zoning cases that should be moving forward. So if you could just,
I'll make a motion to save space for the 2 zoning cases that we'll hear next week. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. For finance, any items for discussion, Ken? No. Do you want to mention that you have the workshops coming?
Oh, yeah, we got the workshops, August 20th, be a workshop on the budget. We also each board member should have got an email regarding the future dates regarding the budget. One workshop going to be for revenues, one on the levy and one on expenses. So those dates have been set.
I have those dates if you want them.
Yeah, if you can, I don't have them in front of me.
September 17th will be the expenses, and October 1st on the levy.
We don't have to RSVP to showcase.
just show up.
Oh,
Yeah. They'll be here for you.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else for Ken?
No, that's it.
Okay, for Public Works and Transportation, anything?
Mr. Ronaldson had provided some information on the proposed gas tax. I just would like to encourage everyone to please continue to review that information and be prepared to discuss it in the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so for Judicial?
Nothing.
Okay. Public Health and Safety, Lori?
Just the announcement that we opened up and expanded services out in eastern Will County. We had the ribbon cutting yesterday, and that's pretty exciting. So, that's it.
Thank you. Legislative and Policy?
We're going to maybe talk a little bit about the minority hiring bill that's been introduced in the state and the state agenda from last year, again, to maybe start formulating some ideas for next year. And our county clerk has told us that she will be meeting with us in September.
Thank you. Capital improvements?
I have nothing, Madam Chairman.
Okay, all right. And then for executive committee, we have a number of items on the agenda. Nothing that really stands out unless someone has questions for me. We've just gone through those, so.
Okay. then on to
Okay,
public comments.
so then we'll, public comments. Nobody from the public needing to comment. Anybody? Public comments. Thank you. Okay, I have no particular announcements. We don't have a need for executive session that I'm aware of. No? Okay. So approval of the county board agenda
As amended.
as amended.
As amended, yep.
Make a motion to do that as amended.
Thank you, Judy. Second, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Just a reminder that we do have the committee of the whole following this, which will be a discussion on the capital bill. We have our state legislators here this or our state lobbyists, rather, here this morning to talk about that. So those of you who can will be right here with a short break between to give you a chance to hear what we're doing, what's happened with that, what we know at this point on the capital bill. Okay. Okay, so motion for adjournment?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We will begin the committee of the whole in 5 minutes.